In this video, we're going to be going over a cool down that hockey players can use as soon as they get off the ice. Hey guys, I'm Kyle and welcome back to Relentless Hockey. Today we're going to be going over a cool down sequence that hockey players can use as soon as they get off the ice to make sure that they're staying healthy all season long. So we have a set sequence we use that's a warm down sequence, cool down sequence, which is a little bit more passive, and a foam rolling sequence to make sure that we're nice and cool, we're nice and relaxed, and we're reclaiming some of the range we lost from an intense practice or an intense game. So let's jump into this. Alright, so our first sequence of exercises is actually what we consider a warm down. So not a traditional cool down where we're just going to go and touch our toes, kind of just hang out on the floor. We're actually going to go through an active series, kind of similar to our warm up. We're going to use a lot of those same movements as we now warm down and try and slow down the body as we get going here. So our first warm down exercise is just the reverse lunge. Typically we've seen this in a warm up, but now we're just going to try and go through a little bit slower. So again, I'm trying to take as far a step as I can backwards to try and open up as much as we can in that hip capsule and really try and reclaim as much range as we can. We're going to do this for about 12 reps, really trying to hold the bottom for 1 or 2 seconds before we get into our next side. Alright, so our second warm down exercise is a heel pull into a side lunge. So something we've typically seen in a warm up exercise, we're going to have a heel pull, feeling it down the back of our glutes, pulling as high as we can in that heel, and then we're going over to a side lunge. So we should feel that in our adductors, our groin, trying to open up as much range as we can in the opposite hip. Again, a pause at the bottom, try and go a little bit more slowly than you normally would, and try and go around 6 to 7 reps per side. Our third warm down exercise is the straight leg squat to stand. So here we're going to get a stretch down our hamstrings as we go straight legs down, and then immediately we're going to have a little bit of a pause at the bottom as we sink into a squat, trying to feel as much range as you can in your hips, and then 1 arm up, 2 arms up, and then we're standing. So again, we're going nice and slow, take some time, relax in this movement. We're going to be going for around 10 reps here, and just at a nice gentle pace. Our fourth and final warm down exercise is the yoga push-up. So this is a little bit more of a full body exercise that we're going to try and get a little bit more range throughout the entire body. So we're going to start by focusing on our calves. We're going to get a little bit of a heel pedal on each. We should feel that stretch all the way from our calves, our Achilles, all the way into our hamstrings. From there, we're going to sink a little bit further into our T-spine, our upper back here, and try and reclaim some range here in the shoulders. From here, we're going to drift forward into a push-up, sink all the way down, and then open up into an upward dog and try to feel that stretch in that lower back as much as we can. This can just be around for 8 to 10 reps, really focusing on trying to reclaim range in all areas here and really make it a full body stretch. Alright, so those were our warm down exercises. By now we should still have a little bit of a sweat on, but we should feel that we're coming down a little bit. Our heart rate shouldn't be going or anything like that. But now we're going to transition into our cool down. So these aren't static stretches where we're just sitting down, we're just having a toe touch and holding it for 30 seconds or anything like that. We could consider these actually like an active static stretch. So we're actually going to find the end range of our muscles and then push into that range as much as we can and just hold and relax and then let go. So it's a bit of a combination between active and passive or active and static, which we're trying to reclaim some range from that end range here and just taking our time and going through all the movements. Alright, so our first exercise is a rocking frogger. So a traditional groin stretch we see where a lot of players just kind of sit back and relax. We actually want to turn it into an active stretch. So we're going to be in that frogger position, our knees as far as wide as part as we can, and then we're just going to sink our butt back as far as we can, and then just force into that range, stay active for about 4 or 5 seconds, and then let go, and then we're pushing our hips forward to do the same thing. So again, we're a little bit of a P&F stretch here as we're trying to reclaim some range in both, but doing it actively instead of just passively or just hanging out here. So our next exercise is the scorpion hold. So now we're going to be flat down. We're going to try and reclaim a little bit of range in that lower back here. So we're going to try and keep as much chest and as much stomach on the ground here as we take our opposite heel to our opposite hand and just hang out in that position for around 4 or 5 seconds. We should be relaxing into this position. It's not static, but it's not active at the same time. We're just trying to get there, hold, and then let go. So we're going to do around 10 of these per side and just focusing there for around 3 to 4 seconds. Alright, so our next exercise, we're still going to stay down on the ground, but this time instead of working on our lower back, we're going to open up those chest and shoulders. So we're still going to have our arms straight out, but this time we're going to push open as if we're doing a push-up with one side. And we should be feeling a stretch all the way from that upper shoulder, those delts, right in through our chest and our pec minor and pec major. So we're trying to open up as much range as we can through the chest and shoulder, and just stay there 4 or 5 seconds actively. So we're going to be pushing as hard as we can to try and open up that range, and then letting go and doing it all over again. You should be trying to claim as much range as you can every single rep here. And again, 4 or 5 seconds for around 8 to 10 reps. All right, so our final exercise, we're really gonna focus on the Achilles all the way up to the back of our legs to our calves and hamstrings. But the setup is really important. So we're gonna find some sort of space on the wall or some sort of boards and just try and get our toe as high as we can before we do any of these exercises. So our first exercise, we're gonna get that toe as high as we can, and then we're gonna push our knee forward as much as we can. So we should be feeling this all up through the Achilles, maybe even through the foot and just into the top of the calf. That's gonna be our first one, and we're gonna push as hard as we can for around 3 to 4 seconds, and then let go, and then do that again. We're gonna hit that for about 8 reps. Our next exercise is super similar. We're gonna have our toes up again as high as we can, but this time we're gonna push our butt back and chest down, and feel this one a little bit more into those upper calves, all the way through that hamstring. We're gonna try and reclaim some range in that hamstring as well here, by hanging out for around 4 or 5 seconds, actively, making sure we're actively trying to find a stretch, and we're gonna do this for around 6 to 7 reps. So that was our cool down sequence, but it's important to remember that that's not a static sequence at all. So we can't just be sitting around stretching for 30 or 40 seconds and expect to have healthy ranges or healthy tissue. We really need to be forcing ranges, pushing, and then letting go, and then trying to reclaim some range every single time. So that's really important for that set of exercises. We're gonna transition now into our final phase, which is our foam rolling phase. So this is a really important piece of equipment to have in your hockey bag, always. And it's important to be able to stay healthy all season, have tissue quality that's healthy all season by foam rolling after every single practice. So we're gonna go through a sequence now that's starting with our quads and then working all the way down, and then also getting in the back. So our first exercise here is quad rolls. So we're just gonna start off all the way from our hip flexor, all the way to just the top of our knee. It's important to remember that we're not actually going over that kneecap. We're just gonna roll all the way to that pouch of the ligaments just above the knee, and then just let off and then get going the other way. So we're just trying to stretch all the way from the top of our knee to the top of our hip flexor and really try and drive in there. Our next one is our TFL. This is actually the same as our quads, but now it's on the side of our knee. So again, we're trying to get all the way from that hip flexor all the way to just right above the knee and staying there and then going back the other way. You should be going nice and slow for all of these exercises, probably around 2 centimeters per second. Just go nice and slow all the way down. The next area we're working on is our hamstrings. So this is the back of our leg. We're gonna be going all the way from our glutes or the bottom of our butt all the way to those ligaments behind the knee. Again, we're never going above our knee or behind our knee. We're just going to where the muscle ends and staying there and then going back the other way. Again, nice and slow, just trying to relax into the foam roller. The next area we're focusing on is our calves. So we're gonna be going all the way from the top of our heel or our Achilles all the way to, again, just right below that knee. Again, not going behind the ligaments behind the knee, but we're just gonna be going through the whole calf. Again, nice and slow, trying to relax into the foam roller. Our final area that we're focusing on is the lats. So that upper back area, we're gonna be going all the way from our shoulder blades all the way down to just where our ribs end. Again, it's really important to relax into this area and make sure that we're trying to push in and get an actual massage here from the foam roller. So that foam rolling sequence is really important to maintain tissue quality throughout the season. But this whole sequence, the warm down, the cool down, the foam rolling, is really important to be able to maintain health over the course of a long season, not just between games or in a big tournament weekend, but all of those elements, whether it's our range of motion, our flexibility, our tissue quality, decrease over a long season. So it's important to be maintaining health throughout that season and really focusing on this kind of stuff. So if you have more questions about this, you can leave it in the comments, or if you're interested in more training videos, check out our channel and subscribe.